I'm back, and as you can notice, he or she is just gonna sit in that car in front of my house. But they have no choice, like I tell you again. They have to keep these energy weapons aimed at me at all times, so now they have to be bold and sit in them cars and keep that weapon on me. Now let's see what is going to be pretended this time. Remember, I've showed you guys in the past how they claim to be waiting on somebody, and one person comes out, and then he has to go back in, then another person comes out. Are they waiting on somebody? Now sometimes they won't even pretend they're waiting on anybody. They'll just sit there. They'll sit in the car. But I ain't got time for them, because that little stuff that they doing, really, even though they got the energy weapon on me, I can deal with it. It's not that bad where I can't deal with it. But let's see, while I'm making this video, how long they're gonna sit there. And as I said, on the last one, I had to go because with the energy weapon, I tell you, they can control your body functions. And of course, all of a sudden, I had to go to the bathroom with no warning. Okay. Now, as I was saying, while I was at the campground, the park rangers told me the area that I had to be in. So now on the board, it didn't give you a price for a night of camping. It just said for an extra vehicle, the first vehicle were up to 8 people, but an extra vehicle, you had to pay $10 a night. So now, when they told me that I would have to go to the certain area that I had to be in, he told me that was the cheapest spot. So he said, this is a campground, that's where you had to go. So even though I wanted to make my thing up the trail, he told me that's where the park ranger told me that's where I had to be. So I told him as soon as I sort my things out and get them together, I would move over there where he said I had to be. But another guy come up, it had turned dark, and he said that he didn't work there, but he's there all the time, and that I need to hurry up and move over there. Because for some reason, I don't know, he just said it, but he said he needs to move. Now, as I tell you, you can tell my harassers because they never want to lift a bag. They never want to help you move anything. Even that time when I get on off them buses with all them bags, the driver would not lift a finger and help me with the bag. No, none of the passengers. Now, there are exceptions where one or maybe a lady might offer. But then I have to look at them because they try to wind up as soon as I'm not looking, going through my bags. But I think one time, maybe once or twice, I got somebody who actually helped me move some bags. But I made the video showing that all these young, didn't matter, black, white, old men, young men, and they see me struggling, and none of them, and like I say, even the bus driver will help you with anything. Now, I put a video on there too about a box that one of the people that load the buses up, I guess whatever he does, he loads the buses, put the packages under the buses, the baggage. Well, how he bagged up a box for me, and it's ridiculous once you look at that video. But as I said, that's down the line. But I'm in the campground, so he tells me it's dark, that he can't help me with the bag. He can't help me with the bags because he has to hold the light while I move these bags from one side of the road to the other one where the campground's supposed to be. Now, he can't help me with the bags because he's holding the flashlight. So he's scanning the area where I got my bags. And then he said, what else enough? He said, leave these things here. Whatever's here, now you can come in the morning and get them again. I said, now how much is the fare for the night? He said, oh no. He said, I don't know what they charge per night for the campground. Now, he has all this information telling me I got to move, and this is the cheapest spot, and this and that, but he does not know the price per night for a person sleeping in a campground. And he was in a hurry to move my things and told me just leave the other ones there, and I can move them in the morning. So, my felt no problem. I wasn't scared. I have no fear. God has me covered, and He does not give us the uh, spirit of fear. He does not give that to us. Oh, that looks like Miss LeBeer's car. Is that her coming? And who is this? Who's still parked here in this blue car? Oh, I guess it was a Miss LeBeer. But uh, um, as I said, they later now. One thing I forgot to I left out that it was raining. It was not raining, but planes were coming back and forth all over my head all day, plane and helicopter. Now, I've heard other people complain, even people in their homes complaining about the government doing surveillance on them, that there's airplanes and helicopters. But one thing I didn't realize that with that HARP, uh, where they control the weather, the planes and the helicopters, they call the sea in the clouds, where they can put them chemtrails and stuff in the clouds to control the weather to make it rain. So they're doing this all day while I was there. So that night, late that night, I made my little blankets up and laid them on the ground and everything. And as soon as uh, I got ready to lay down, it started raining. I mean, it started raining, but I thought I'd be fine because I had been in Washington since the 9th and this was the 14th. So in 5 days, it had not rained since I've been there. So I'm not thinking it's going to rain much. So I still laid down and took some little plastic that I had. And now he seemed to try to pull off and then he turned his lights off. But he's still sitting in the car, whoever he or she. But I laid there, and I think I slept for about a couple hours, and then I got soaked. Everything I got soaked. But about 4 o'clock that morning, my blankets and everything was really soaked. So I went into the ladies' room about 4:30 that morning and laid on my blankets, took all my things and put them, laid on my blankets over the bathroom stall so they can dry, so I can come out. Um, and once they dry, and start camping again. Because I had all my gear except for the things that the police officer said that Mr. Larrabee would not give me back. And that was my cooking stove, my portable gas stove, my propane, and my water pump. But I had everything else I needed for the camp with. Um, so I was in the bathroom. And that's when you'll see the video of how that ranger came that morning and said that now he did not come. Now what happened was I was making videos in the bathroom, now uh, about what was going on and how they was pumping. I felt the energy weapon in the bathroom and felt it at night in the campground that they were in this office building. Not it's not an office building. They little office that they be in, like the what do you call it, the general store, whatever it is, where they were in there. And even though it was supposed to be closed, I could feel the energy weapon coming from there. Also, while I was in the bathroom, they got this little maintenance room on the side, and I heard somebody in there coughing and talking. So when I heard the talking that morning, I went outside. So the ranger, park ranger, was talking to this little young man that was in the maintenance room. Now I don't know. No, they person finally coming out, like I said, and look, he got on his orange. They're finally coming out. Okay, so while um uh they were talking, that's when I came out the bathroom and I asked the ranger, I say, Ranger, I say, what are the prices for per night for the campground? And he told me $20 a night. I told him no. Now he was fine with me at first. He had no problems with me being in the bathroom. But when he told me $20, I said no. I looked on the board and it said the extra car was only 10. So if one car with 8 people, it ain't no price, and then the extra car is $10. How you gonna charge me 20 per night? And I don't have a vehicle. So when he thought about it, he said, "Oh yeah, Now, you've been arranging a long time. You can't tell me that you forgot that the price went up to $20 for a person and went down to 10 for a vehicle with 8 people in it, huh? But as soon as I pointed that out to him, he said that I was right. Then he had a problem that he wanted me to go. Cause you'll hear him say, "Well, I have a problem with you being in this bathroom. This is a public bathroom." Now, I'm the only one in this park, in this campground. I have not seen not one person on the 14th or that morning. Not one person came in the bathroom. Not one person was in that camping ground but me. Now, there were a lot of vehicles out there, but I was the only person walking around. So, he talking about I have to go to a shelter. I said, no, I got money. I got money. I can pay just like any other camper. I can pay my way through. And I offered him the money. He didn't want to take it. But this is another strange thing. My daughter called. And then she said, well, Mom, let him take you to a shelter. And I said, no. Now, I didn't think about it then. But isn't that something that my daughter can call and tell me? So did they call her? Did somebody notify her that I'm having an argument with this park ranger? He wanted to take me to a shelter, and she wants me to go to a shelter? And I said, no, Amanda. I said, number one, a shelter would not accept all the things I have, all my camping gear. I said, now, if he can find me a shelter that will accept all my camping gear, and you'll hear this conversation, but you know what he did? He didn't want to talk on my phone. He asked my daughter for her number, and he called her. Now, this is important, because my daughter's number has been passed from one park ranger to another for some reason. And not only was the park passed from one park ranger to another, it was also passed to the security guard at the bus depot. He told me my daughter's name. He said, I got Amanda's number, and I'll call her if she needs to check on you. Isn't that something? So I asked my daughter, say, how did these people know you? How did this security guard at the bus station know your name and have your number? And she said, well, Mom, the park rangers, one of the park rangers probably passed it all on. Now that number, my daughter's number has passed from one park ranger to another park ranger to the security guard at the bus depot. Isn't that something? But at any rate, I told my daughter if he could find me a shelter that would take all of my things, that I would not lose my things, I would go to the shelter. So she kept saying, well, Mom, I'll go to the shelter, go to the shelter. Now, he came back later in the evening and said he could not find one. And I stayed there again at night. Still, I tried to pay him, and they would not accept my money. They gave me all kind of hard times. Now, I must mention this because I do not have the video, because what they did was my photos, they have them all displaced. They're not in the correct order that I took them. So I had a hard time searching to try to find the correct videos and put them in order. So the one that I do have, you'll see, but I don't know how to get the order, but I think you're smart enough to figure out what's going on. But I took the video of how, for them days, I was there from the 14th till the 17th. And I was the only person in that campground. Those, what's that, 14, 15, 16, 17. I was there 4 days, 4 days. And no one was in that campground but me. And as I said, there were vehicles parked everywhere. Now, there were a lot of different water fountains and wells all over the area, and places where you can plug your phone and stuff. But the only ones that were working seemed to be in a designated area. Now, even though the area that he told me that I was supposed to be in had water spigots, none of them worked. Even though they had an area that was supposed to charge my phone, they weren't working. So the only area that I can go to charge my phone and get water was by the buildings where that little car sits, and you'll see that video. There was a car sitting there, a little motor thing. I don't know what it's for, but That stationary. That's another thing they do. Where they have a stationary spot to sit the energy weapon in, and I've had plenty of video of that put up. But uh, as here, in order for them to use the weapon, energy weapon on you, it has to be triangled. It's a triangle little thing. So, like here, they have houses across the street. The people upstairs, I think they're the main source of the setup is upstairs. It used to be next door in that building over there, but when I kept finding out, it was showing that my interference was coming from next door. In order for it to look like it wasn't happening, they put it upstairs. That's when her son moved in upstairs because I was trying to get up there and find out who was up there all the time. So I was gonna pick the lock and go in there and see who was in there. And then all of a sudden, her son moved in. So now they have a reason to say that the energy I can't go up there and check about the energy weapon upstairs. That source that is the main monitor, whatever, for the energy weapon. But it's upstairs. They have something in the garage, something in the basement, and the people walking back and forth and the cars traveling back and forth, all of them get their signals. Now, like I said, all of my neighbors are in on this. This is where I know I was set up in the system, in this community, as a sacrifice. Now, the same thing was like that at the campground. The only way I can get my water and charge my phone was in the area that had that the office that was supposed to be closed, but somebody was in there, and the bathroom. That was number 2, where I told you the little guy, the young man, was in the maintenance room in between the bathrooms, between the men's and the ladies' room, and the cars that's parked in the lot, like the cars be parked here. The cars that were people sitting in the lot, in the campground parking lot, that was 3. So, as I said, I made the video that none of the water spigots or none of the electricity. So they narrowed me down to that one well and that one place to charge my phone. The water I tasted was contaminated. So I had to boil it before I could drink it. Or it's a good thing God gave me some supplies that I needed, like the apple cider vinegar and some other things that would help me process the water. But when I made the video about all them days I had been there, and I had not seen anyone, but all of these cars are here, but nobody's in this camping area but me. So I was walking around making this video, and then I noticed something. The stones. Now, the first night, I noticed that some of the stones, one of the stones had a skull that looked like an Anunnaki. But I'm saying, this isn't interesting. But I paid no attention to it. And then I noticed some other things, strange things. But then that morning, I think the 16th or the 17th, I noticed that the stones in one area was a perfect circle. You know how Satanists, witchcraft is used where they make a circle and they either put people in the circle to sacrifice, or they use that circle to call up demons and spirits and cast spells and stuff. Well, I had noticed it before because it's not obvious. If you're not looking for it, you won't see it. And I just happened to be walking around looking for wood, pieces of wood to burn, and I saw this circle of stone. And it was amazing. So I started walking around looking at other things. And this was a campground that they were using for witchcraft. So, I was quite amazed. And I was taking video. Now, all of a sudden, the park ranger drives up. And I asked him about the prices. And he told me $20 a night. And he wanted me to argue, and I didn't want to because it's nighttime, and he wanted a reason to put me off the campground. So I agreed to pay him the $20 a night, so I gave him $40. So Uh, I, I I don't know what happened, but for some reason I was finding out too much information about that campground. And he came back that night and he said, "Your daughter called." He said that they got your ticket. You're going to be leaving. He said, call her. No, he said, she's going to call you. Your daughter is going to call you and see what time you leave out. So my daughter called. I didn't pay any attention to that, but this is really interesting now. How my daughter has always been in the mix with these people. But this was another park ranger. This wasn't the one that she talked to earlier that she gave a number to. Her number two. Here come me a little kid standing right in front of the house. Look at him. Isn't that something? Because they have to stand in front of me. They can't get that little speed or energy unless they come and stand in front of me for at least a few minutes. Well, uh, so, uh, when you realize, number one, all these cars, and I'm taking video of these cars in this parking lot, how they sitting there close to me, and they would stop in the middle of the lot and just sit there, and I'm taking pictures. Because the one thing about these people, they so stupid. When they would come in that parking lot, there's only one way in, and it's only one road out. So when they sit there and put their phones on me and just sit there like they're stupid, they still have to come past me to get out. And that happens a lot. They get caught up. So once I come, turn my phone on, the video on, they ready to go. But you got to go past me to get out. So I was sitting right there. Once I seen that they gonna sit there and point their energy weapons on me and just sit, I would get my camera and then they would try to leave. So this when the ranger came again and he say, did you? I say my daughter called. I say, well, she said she's not gonna get me the ticket. My bus don't leave until 5 in the morning. And he was kind of disappointed. He said, it's the fastest you can get out of here. He said, it's going to take that long that she can't get you no ride for the night. They really wanted me out of there because I was just collecting too much info. Now, as I said early on in the video, my daughter didn't have the money to buy the ticket. My son didn't have the money to buy the ticket. But I was getting too much information. They wanted me out of there so bad that they gave my daughter the money to buy that ticket. To get me out of there. I'm telling you, there's no way my daughter came up with that money or my son. They have their connection with these people. These people supply them with that money to get me out of there. Now, what they wanted to do, because as I found out later, my daughter and my son had lied. What they wanted to do was for me to still leave my things. That's why I told my daughter to rent me a car. But no, they couldn't get anybody. Everybody I know, nobody could have rented me a car. Here they go with their red city. They stop. It's back and forth, back and forth. But they couldn't get me a car. Because I told my daughter the only way I can get out of there, because I got my driver's license, which don't expire until 2018. The only way I can get out of there was taking all my things to get a car. They know they weren't going to let me take the stuff on the bus. So I had to wheel it down. And I left a lot of stuff there. And I told the ranger to donate it to people that might need it. But I still had about 8 bags. And I figured I asked my daughter, I said, how much it costs to get on the bus with my bags. She said, well, the first bag is free. And then any bag after that is $15. So I figured if I put my free bag on, and the 2 that I was going to use to carry on, put on head, that I had enough money left to put a few more bags on, especially if I pack them right. So I had $15 to pay for a few more bags. Because when the ranger came back, I forgot to tell you that. When the ranger came back to tell me that my daughter had had mysteriously came up with the money for me a bus ticket, he gave my $40 back. Really? Yes. He gave my $40 back. So I was able to use that. I said, well, my $40 and then the other $40 I got, I can get me a few bags, pay for them, and put them under that bus, under the bus. So, like I said, I had a bag. So I had enough money. I counted with the $80 how many bags I could put under the bus and what I could take on. So that morning he picks me up. Now, I had a water cooler that I had bought, that you put water and you pump the water out into a glass. And the ranger asked me, I told him that on my way out, we loaded up my bags. I said, on my way out, and it's about 4:30 in the morning. I asked him, could we stop at the well so I can give me some water so I can have some water to drink on the bus? Because I had my vinegar and I was going to pour it in there to kind of sterilize a little bit. And he told me he'll put it in. He filled it with water, and then he came back and set it in the car, and he got in. He took me to the bus station. Now, he told me to go ahead on in, take them bags on in. Now, what I was thinking was, the way he was doing something with that jug, with my water jug, I felt he had put something in it. I didn't trust it. So I was saying to myself, I'm going to test that water. I wasn't going to drink that water. I'm going to test that water because I thought he did something he wasn't supposed to do. So I get ready to get out. He said, well, you take this bag in and that bag, and I'll bring everything else. You just go and get your ticket. So I come in, I get my ticket, and I was having a problem. They told me exactly what it said. And I know this is what they do all the time. And I've been doing this for so long that I have to prove to them that I'm not scared of anything they do. And no matter what they do, it won't affect me. So when he gave me when the security guard told me to sit right there, gave me a spot to sit in where you can wash your stuff and I'm going to wash it for her and nobody's going to bother your stuff. He gave me a designated area to sit in. And I do it all the time. I let them work their magic. Go on, work your magic. Because there's nothing you can do because God got me covered. You see that car that's been sitting there all that time, way down there with them lights on. Let me make sure that's a car. It might be. Let's see, does it ever move? Because if it moves, yeah, it was a car. He's been sitting there all the time. Now he's going to move. Okay. Well, at any rate, brought my things in. And I sit exactly where the security guard told me to sit. Now, when he told me to sit there, he said, well, I'm going to make sure I watch your stuff so nobody mess with it. Now, what they do is they try to sit me in a certain area. They do that here, too. They try to direct me to a certain area where be most likely where the energy weapon could have the most direct effect on me. That time that they tried to bar me out of a Dollar Tree, when that officer came and he said, well, I'm going to put your shopping cart up here. I said, no, I don't want to go that way. I'm going another direction. No. He took my shopping cart and put me in front of this building. Anyway, even though I said I didn't want to go that way, they try to force you in the area, a location that they want you to be in, just like they did at the campground. So, that's what the officer, the security guard at the bus station did. So I sit there because, like I said, I'm not worried about anything. They can't do anything. God told me I'm not going nowhere, and I believe him. So I sit there, but it was far away from where I had to go to check on my ticket. So I went to go check on my ticket, and I noticed this guy come sit right by my stuff. And every time I look over there, he would look back at me. And when people up to something, they're trying to see how you looking at them. And that's what he kept doing. He kept looking at me to see was I watching him. And I was. So, I seen him like he was trying to bend over something. I walked up to him and say, sir, I said, would you move away from my stuff? I said, you see that I got all this stuff here. Now the thing is, there were 1,000 seats all over that place. There was nobody, too many people in there. 1,000 seats all over that place. But you're going to come sit by my stuff. And he told me no. And I didn't like that. So I told him, I said, why are you sitting here? I said, all these seats all everywhere. Why would you sit over here by myself? Where we waiting to look out the door. Really? You can't look out the door from another spot. That's what the girl that was living there. You can't look out the door from another spot. So I went and asked the security officer. I said, "Will you tell him to move? You told me that my stuff would be safe sitting here, and you will watch it." Well, he's not gonna harm your stuff. Now that's another thing they do. They tell me all the time what these criminals won't do, like they know these people personally. Now we all hear of the stories how people go in people's stuff when they in somewhere, even in the store or anywhere else, how people's stuff gets stolen. But this security officer said, "Oh, he ain't gonna harm your stuff." I said, "But you told me to sit here, and all them seats over there, and you won't tell him to move." That was a cartoon because that light just went out. Well, but you want to ask him to move, so uh, I didn't try to get the ticket. I was just gonna stay there until he moved. So when he did move, I realized that my cooler, I didn't have my cooler. Excuse me. So I called my daughter and told her to call that officer, that park ranger, and they said where my cooler was. Now, my daughter didn't call me back. I didn't hear back from her. So when I talked to her, I asked her, "Where was my water cooler?" I told her the park ranger stole my cooler. Where was my water cooler? She said, "Well, Mom, I texted him and he never got back with me." Now, she texted me. I never heard my daughter mention again anything about that cooler. And I've never heard about that cooler that park ranger took from me. But as I said, I was going to have that water tested. Well, I don't know about getting it tested right away because, with their connections, you can't trust any autopsies. You can't trust any uh, what do you call it? Results forensics, because they can manipulate just about any source that you think you have. There are no independent sources that you can depend on for any kind of toxicology, path, pathic, whatever, for forensic. There is nothing. Everything can be tampered with because our government and this Illuminati has their finger in everything. This New World Order. I have not come across not one thing yet that has not been tampered with, that they do not have. Now, when I first got in this as a targeted individual in 1998, they didn't have the strength they have today. There was different areas that there was still control that I could still go to if I needed help. But that is not the case today. Now they have infiltrated everything, and there's no safety net. There's nothing they don't have their fingers on, that their fingerprints are not on. But that's good, because all of these people need to be busted. Because anytime you gave in, and God said it, to hurt the widows, their orphans, when you take advantage of people that need these services most, I don't care what the reason is, you are evil. You are evil. But as I said, the cooler disappeared. My daughter never called back and told me what happened with the cooler. Just the same way when my sister came here and I was showing her the officers' cards of them who's supposed to be doing investigations weren't doing nothing. The card all of a sudden disappeared, and I was looking for it. My sister went back to Ohio, and I called her and say, "Rosie, what happened to that officer's card that I had as proof?" I took it. I said, "Why would you take that card?" I was gonna call him and see why he hadn't check on you, but she didn't do that. So why would you take a card of a police officers to protect him? So you protecting a police officer by getting evidence from me about him, really? Well, so the cooler was missing, and Well, so I'm waiting on my bus. The bus was supposed to be there at 5:25. So I'm sitting there. The bus comes, and the guy loads my bags on the bus. Two of my bags. Now, as a thing, he charged me. Now, my daughter had told me that the price was $15 for extra bag. I get to put one on free. The next one was $15. The other one's $15 from then on. So I get to buy my tickets, my tags to put on my bags. And I go up there, and she told me that I could put one bag under there free, and the next bag was $15. And after that, each additional bag was $30 to $40. Really? So now they done really jumped up to the price. So I say, well, see how much on one bag. Now they didn't weigh it. They didn't even look at the bag. She didn't look at it. Didn't weigh it or nothing. She told me $40. I said, well, how is it going to be $40? You told me 30 to 40. Well, I looked at it, and it's 40. So I could only buy the one bag, but I whittled them down so I can get just about everything I could and as much as I could. So I was going to have to leave some more stuff. So I bought the one bag, and the guy that packs the stuff on the bus, he gave me another because I took video of that, and they didn't like that. So he gave me another ticket to put on another bag for free. Because when they do something wrong like that, they give me something free, they know they getting cold busted. So there's 2 bags I could get because the one I paid the $40 for and the extra one that he gave me for free. Now he puts my bag on. He puts 2 bags on, and I'm sitting there because the bus isn't ready to leave yet. They haven't loaded up yet. And then he comes back and tells me, they get ready to load. He comes back and tells me, oh, well, you have to catch the next bus. I said, well, what do you mean? The bus is crowded. They overbooked the bus. Well, what's that got to do with me? My ticket been bought. So how I got a ticket and you're going to tell me that I can't get on this bus? So he took my bags off and set them back by me. And I said, where's the driver? I need to discuss with him why, since I've already have a ticket and a seat, why are you going to put me up? And I just happened to look out the door at the bus that was loaded up, and there were at least 20 seats, at least 20, 25 seats available on that bus. So I see this driver taking tickets at this people going through the door. So I say, who's the driver of that bus? I need to talk to the driver. He points to another guy. So I go over there to talk to him. And he said, I'm not the driver. He said, the guy that right there is the driver. So the one that told me, pointed to the other guy, he lied to me. He was the driver, but he said he wasn't the driver. So I get ready to go out the door to talk to him. And guess what? I am blocked by 2 security. Now, these are not regular security. They got on special uniforms. These are not regular officers. They got on special uniforms. And if you notice that officer that was at Larrabee's, I think he's UN too. One of UN's forces. You can clearly see he's not American. He hasn't been here long. He still has that strong foreign accent. So they are bringing these UN forces in here already. But at any rate, they didn't look too Americanese to come to think of it. But they have these special uniforms on, and I go out there and they block me. I say, he said, Miss, what do you want? I say, I want to talk to that bus driver. I want to ask him why I can't get on the bus. He said it's crowded. I said, but as you can see, there are plenty of seats on that bus. So he said, oh, well, you can't talk to him. We're trying to keep the peace. And they had them dogs. So they get on the bus with the driver. And then they come back and say, well, the driver said that you were disruptive. I said, what do you mean disruptive? I've never seen a driver before. Well, he has every right to deny you getting on his bus if you are disruptive. I say, what do you mean disruptive? And I got an attitude. I said, what do you mean disruptive? I've never seen this driver before. Where he says that, well, oh no, he didn't say he says. He said, well, he might be talking about a time in the past when you traveled before. Number one, I'm no different from anybody else. How do you know that I've traveled before? I could have been a citizen living there and traveling for my first time on this bus. How do you know? How do you know that I'm new to this town? How do you know that? I said, but I never seen that driver before. He can't say that on my travels that might have been on his bus in the past and that I was disruptive. And who remember people like that? You understand what I'm saying? But they told me, well, you go talk to the customer service. So I go up to customer service and I try to talk to her, and she's talking smart. But I kept my calm because they already said I was disruptive. So she said, well, the next bus leaves out at 5:35 this evening. We'll put you on another bus. So that means that 5 o'clock that morning, they denied me the right to get on that bus with no valid reason. Lied to me first time and said it was overcrowded, and then it wasn't overcrowded. And then they said I was disruptive, and I wasn't disruptive. And I think I gotta look and see, do I have that video where I do. I have the video where I talk to them foreign officers about not getting on the bus. Now, while I'm sitting there, the people that got on the bus, while I'm sitting there, I noticed, I'm gonna make this one about 45 minutes. I'm do this kind of quick. I noticed while I was sitting there that there was nobody else in the bus station with me. But first, number one, I heard this guy was trying to come in. He was in the bus station, and the security guy said, what are you doing in here? And he said, I'm coming. He said, no, you're not allowed in here. He said, you can't come in here. You have to go. So the guy said, well, why? This place is off limits. So he escorted the guy at the door. Then another older guy came in later on. He said, you can't come in here. The guy said, well, I've been coming in here. And he said, no, this place is off limits. You can't come here today. You can't be here. So I'm saying, well, why are they denying regular civilians from coming in the bus station? Why is there nobody who can walk off the street can come in here? So I go toward the door, and I see guys in military. I see a lot of military uniforms outside directing traffic. I guess they were diverting traffic from people from coming into the bus station. So I said, this is some kind of military operation here. I said, what's going on? Now, I forgot to mention one major part. The day before, that night, before the ranger picked me up, I had some kind of experience. I don't know what you would call it. Some kind of experience where I closed my eyes and it looked like I was seeing visions or something like that. I wasn't asleep. I would close my eyes. But I saw myself and my eyes moving around. And I don't know what it was. I've never had that experience before. But I don't know whether it's military thinks that something's changed in me. But at any rate, by the time I got to that Greyhound bus station, they were not letting anybody in from off the street. As I said, if I hadn't heard the security telling people they could not come in, then I looked outside the door and saw that the military was directing traffic. You can tell these military, and they had on uniforms, that they were directing traffic away from the bus station. But I have video of me being the only one sitting in that bus station for hours and hours. I took video. I think I took 3 videos of nobody at the doors, no security officers, nobody at the service desk, just me sitting there for hours and hours. And that is strange. In a bus station? So you guys look at that video. If I can't get it posted on YouTube, I will. It's already up on Spaces and Google+. Talk to you guys later. Part 3 coming up.